Alrighty, y'all, welcome back to American Reacts. We are looking at why Krispy Kreme failed in Australia. This is from the channel called Cheddar, so this will be linked in the description down below if you would like to check them out. All I can say is Krispy Kreme is super good in my opinion. I love any light, fluffy donuts that are just kind of melt in your mouth and on the lighter side. That's what they are. They're not real heavy. I think they're really tasty, and they're super popular in America. I mean, donuts in general are popular here of all different sorts. Our donuts, American-style donuts, you know, your typical round with the hole in the middle, or I guess Long John's, cream-filled. Those are the most popular ones here. Are those popular in Australia? And second of all, why did Krispy Kreme fail? We're about to find out. Hopefully this does well. We did why Starbucks failed in Australia, and that did really, really well, and it was a very interesting video. So let's get right into it.
When Krispy Kreme opened in Australia in 2003, people from across the country made their way to Sydney to buy as many donuts as they could carry. But 7 years later, Krispy Kreme closed half of their stores and laid off a third of their workforce.
Wow, that's pretty quick.
So how did they go from hyped obsession to totally forgotten?
Yeah. Pretty weird, right? So they had the initial hype. Everyone started flocking there when they first came there, which is a good sign, right? People are excited. They want to try it. But then within a few years, it dies out pretty quick. What's going on there, right? I'm interested to learn about this one. I mean, the Starbucks one was kind of obvious. Because, you know, Australia is known for amazing coffee, and it's pretty hard to break into that market. But donuts, I don't know anything about their market. I imagine, well, they're not, I'm not saying they're the best donuts in the world. You know, that's a matter of opinion, but I really think they're up there. I mean, they are good donuts. Maybe they wouldn't be the most popular, but straight up failing there, yeah, I'd really like to see. That's pretty interesting because I feel like they're pretty popular here.
When the company was started in the 1930s by 18-year-old Vernon Rudolph and his uncle Ishmael, the smell of hot donuts wafting from the ovens drew passers-by who begged to buy them straight from the ovens.
Krispy Kreme got so popular that Vernon and Ishmael cut a hole in the wall of the factory to sell the donuts right away.
Oh, wow.
But
yeah, that's what they're famous for.
In 1976, an international conglomerate called Beatrice Foods bought the brand. They sold everything from luggage to bras to, well, donuts.
There you go.
But they pushed Krispy Kreme away from their original identity in the name of
now that's what I call diversifying your portfolio.
profit.
They even committed the ultimate crime, changing the fabled donut recipe that had been in place since the beginning.
Jeez.
The outraged individual store owners banded together and bought back the company in 1982.
Good.
It sparked a resurgence and a decade of rapid expansion. In 2001, Krispy Kreme expanded into Canada, which was relatively successful. That drove them to look across the globe to Australia.
The first Australian store opened in Penrith, a suburb of Sydney, and sales were through the roof.
Nice.
It was reported that some people traveled more than 1,000 miles to try the original glazed. And it wasn't uncommon to see people returning on airplanes at the Melbourne airport with bags full of Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh my God, can you imagine that? That's wild. So, I mean, they had some hype going on in the beginning. I mean, that's pretty insane. Imagine having your donut place and people are coming from up to 1,000 miles away and you know, hoarding them, taking them back across the country. I mean, that's, you know, you got a good thing going, right? How would that die out so quickly? Because that's a major hype.
This kind of donut craze wasn't unprecedented for Krispy Kreme. Throughout their history, they relied on buzz and word of mouth.
This strategy continued in Australia, where it donated to local charities to create an emotional connection with the community.
Right.
They also gave away a lot of free donuts and other samples.
And who wouldn't be excited by a free donut?
They're so good.
Just after their launch,
they're so
Krispy
smooth
Kreme Australia
and crisp.
immediately began scaling up. They grew from one store to 50 and employed 660 staff members at their height.
And even though it kept scaling upwards, its profit didn't.
Oh.
The Australian branch's revenue rose 6.9% in 2009, but net profit margins were up only $62,000, or 0.1% in the same year, according to Dun & Bradstreet's company.
That's
The
no
lack
good.
of profit was partially because Australian Krispy Kreme just had too many stores. In 2010, the US had 224 stores, serving a population of 311 million. That equaled around one store for 1.4 million people.
Okay.
But Australia had 50 stores for 21 million
Oh,
people,
okay.
which was about one store for 420,000 people. It's also because Australians don't want to eat donuts every day,
Yeah,
according to ABC.
that's true.
They reported that in Australia, donuts are a treat, not breakfast.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be because of the low carb.
That is such a funny statement, but true. I mean, there it is. Australians probably, I know there's extremes from both, any country really, but yeah, your average Australian probably knows the difference more so than your average American between, hey, this donut is a, once a month or a once every few weeks treat, and I'm gonna have one or two, with my milk or my coffee or whatever, and that's my treat, and boom, I'm done. Whereas in America, this might be, for some people, this might be, hey, every Friday or every Monday and every Thursday, I get a dozen donuts and share them with, so-and-so and so-and-so, and I could pound 3 or 4 of these in a day and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm sure that happens more often here. I'm sure the need for donuts is just more of a thing here in America. I mean, it's very common, maybe like in a workplace, right? Every Friday, someone runs and grabs a couple dozen donuts and everyone just splurges on those. I imagine that kind of culture is not as prevalent in Australia or most countries. That might be just too much of an American thing.
Fad that permeated diet culture in the late 2000s, and increasingly health-conscious Australian customers.
That led to 2010, when the news came out.
Several factors, including location, sales declines, high rents, and high distribution costs, have meant that a number of stores are losing money. John McGinnon, Krispy Kreme's Australian CEO, said at the time, the company was going to go into administration, which meant that an outside firm, in this case the accountancy firm Smith Hancock, would evaluate and cut out the parts of the chain that were unprofitable. The aftermath was 35 closed stores and 200 plus employees laid off.
That's a lot, considering there was only 50 stores.
Krispy Kreme in Australia sells donuts in almost every 7-Eleven, outside of the remaining stores.
A good compromise between keeping their footprint small for cost savings and expanding their reach. The lesson? Know the demand before you expand.
Is that it? That went quick. Sorry guys, that went quicker than I thought it would. I didn't even notice it was a 5-minute video. It was straight to the point. Can't complain about that. It wasn't very thorough. Again, it's a different market than the US. Of course, there's people there that like Krispy Kreme. I think it's a little different than the Starbucks video and their fate as well. There are people in Australia that probably like Krispy Kreme, and they still have a small market there. And you know what? I will say this. It's even become that way in America, even though America definitely loves their donuts. There's a lot of competition in America for donuts. Obviously, probably more companies than any other country. There's a lot of famous donuts, not just Krispy Kreme. And I have noticed Krispy Kreme, they're in a lot of stores where they have their own little display. They are in gas stations, certain gas stations, and they, again, have their own little display. And I myself, along with most people I know, have not visited an actual Krispy Kreme store in years. I don't think I've been to one in 10 years probably. They're just easier to get somewhere else. I miss getting them fresh, like fresh as in right off that donut line. But, most people aren't going to make the trek for that because there's not one near me. So yeah, that is the video. Leave your comments down below. Do you like Krispy Kreme? Did you know anything about this? Do you think they fully failed, or do you think they're just kind of floating? They're under the radar. I don't know about they fully failed. I wouldn't say that, but they definitely aren't thriving, right? they're just enough to hang on. They have a little slice of the donut market there, and they're still relevant in a small way. But it's not like they straight up got like driven out of Australia and you know, like there's no Krispy Kremes in sight. I mean, they're there just on a small scale. But anyway, guys, there you have it. Make sure to check out the description for this video so you can watch it again if you'd like, or check out some other stuff from them. Leave a thumbs up on there if you enjoyed it and maybe learned something new. Subscribe for more stuff like this. Comment down below what favorite donut styles and or what favorite donut place you enjoy down below, or tell me if you hate donuts. And if you do, what is wrong with you? Anyway, guys, my name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, guys. Catch you later.